or that I shouldn't be here. Like, I thought that to be a CrossFitter, you had to be a certain height, weight, shape, level of athlete to even walk in the door, and I could not have done that.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Full Send Podcast. I'm alongside Coach Monroe Miller. Hey, man.
What's up?
And we have our first kind of member story outside of coaches is what I'm going to say here. And we have Cassie. Cassie, I'm not sure what your last name is.
That's okay. It's Blair, Mrs. Blair.
Okay. Cassie, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
How excited are you right now?
I'm actually super excited.
Yeah.
I feel very honored.
We're excited to have you on here. And what Cassie gets to do is she kind of gets to go through the member experience, why she joined CrossFit, and her experience over here from the last. How long have you been with Verity Speed Strength now?
About a year and a half, I think.
Awesome.
Ish.
Awesome.
Plus or minus.
Awesome. Well, cool. Let's kick it off with just tell us a little bit about you. So you just told me, we weren't recording at that time, but where are you from originally?
So born and raised in Central Florida. I lived there for 22 years.
Okay.
And my job brought me up here, and I've kind of been up here ever since. So since 2007.
What do you do?
I am an air traffic controller.
How does somebody go about becoming an air traffic controller? Is that something you go to college for? It is.
Yeah, so there's a little bit, shameless plug, if you have a child out of college who does not have a job, come talk to me. The FAA, no, I'm serious.
Put that in the comments here below there, guys, and we'll give you guys an introduction to Cassie.
But no, so the traditional path is you go to school for it, there's certifications for it, you graduate, you apply to the FAA, and then when they're ready for you, they give you a call, and you show up in Oklahoma, and you spent some dreadful period of time out there, and then you go to your facility and just kind of do that. So that's kind of what I've been doing. The short answer.
Did you always want to do that?
I did.
Were you like?
Well, not air traffic proper. I originally went to school for aviation in general. I wanted to be a pilot, and that was a very costly mistake. I got like 3/4 of the way through all of my training and decided that was not what I wanted to do.
Happens. It's so difficult, I think, I'm assuming this was maybe out of high school, so you're probably 18, 19, 20 years old at the time. I think that's such a tough decision, to be like, hey, Cassie, you're 18 years old. What do you want to do for the rest of your life? And I think that's so natural.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you can, and I've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4 different career changes at this point. And
wow.
And it's totally fine, And you, I think, were fortunate in that you found something, at least in the aviation, that you enjoyed.
Well, and that's exactly it. I was really blessed that, I am still in the realm that I started out in. So a lot of the same skills and classes and everything translate. And also fortunate, I walked right out of college into a job that I went to school to do, which again is also not very common, I feel like, these days. So I was pretty fortunate in all accounts. So yeah.
Monroe, you look like you had a thought there about college. And
I mean, when I went to college, my dad was like, you must pick a major. I was like, I want to go undecided because I have no idea what I want to do. And he was like, you must pick. And that's what, and we did I picked chemistry at that time, and it turned out to be not the right thing at all. But yeah, I don't think it's the wrong thing to spend some time figuring out what you want to do with your life.
You have to have that figured out, or they didn't even let us declare where I went until you were a sophomore. No.
Huh.
I think it was for that purpose, because you haven't even taken any classes. Like, how are you supposed to know what exactly you want to do? Okay. So Cassie, you wanted to be a pilot, got 3/4 of the way through, made I'm going to say you had a learning point in your life, right? And I mean, that really was just some adversity that you overcame. And where did that lead you after that?
Yeah, no, it was really simple. I did my internship to graduate, and it was with Northwest Airlines, and it was flying everywhere in the operations. I was in the training department, so I saw a lot of what a professional pilot would have to endure, and I was like, this is not for me. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And at that point, I finished that semester, came back to school, and that's when my air traffic classes started picking up and got really interesting. We were actually sitting behind the radar talking to planes, and the rest is history from there. And I was like, no, this is where I want to be, and I had zero regrets.
And you're not up in the tower.
No.
Right. So that's, I don't know about you, but when I think air traffic controller, I think dude with the head set up in the tower talking to planes.
Yeah. Where else would you be?
So at least it's a step above. So people, when they hear air traffic controller, they think you're in a tower with the windows and the whole 9 yards, or they think you're the dude on the plane with the sticks, or on the ground with the sticks.
Oh, I don't think that's.
So
what is that?
Like a I want to say air marshal. There's a name.
They just guide planes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at any rate, no. So I work in a dark, windowless room.
Okay.
It's huge. The facility I work at is Washington Air Traffic Control Center. There's like 300 plus controllers in the building that all work various degrees of airspace from Philadelphia all the way down to North Carolina and then as far west as West Virginia. So we work like all the high altitude, like you're like, imagine you're in the plane, fasten seatbelt sign comes off, you're probably talking to Washington Center. So
yeah, so when you guys are having some turbulence and you need an angel to watch over you, that's Cassie.
In the gang, yeah. So.
Okay.
So do you direct the pilot and the pilot flies the plane?
Yep.
So if there's turbulence coming, the captain isn't making the decision, even though they're like, I've made the decision to turn on. Because when you're flying, you don't even think about there being an aircraft controller.
Yeah, no, so it's kind of a collaborative thing. So maybe the airplane is at the bottom of my airspace, and I know that there's turbulence at the altitude he's at. Me like, hey, Delta so-and-so, constant light chop at this altitude, whatever. And he might come back and say, Roger, and he's going to put you guys right through it. Sorry about your coffee in your lap. Or he might say, okay, can I request a different altitude? So we adjust that. But the easiest, I think the biggest misconception is that all the planes are going everywhere in every direction in every altitude and there's highways. There's highways in the sky. That's what they fly. That's what they do. 90% of what we do is predictable, and you know what's going to happen before it happens, basically. So.
Yeah.
I guess, when did you start that job?
So I started with the FAA in 2011. Prior to that, I did aviation weather. So I briefed general aviation pilots on the weather and what they could expect for their flights for like a smaller scale type thing. So I did that. But I've been with the FAA since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So cool. Eventually, you thought about doing fitness. How did you come to find Verity Speed and Strength, or contemplate it? Where did that begin?
So I actually think this is hilarious, and I don't know if Monroe is going to find it to be the same. So I knew that I needed to change. I knew that I was about a year postpartum, and I knew that something had to happen. I had to get somewhere with it. I've been through the gamut of global gyms. I've been through just all the varying degrees. I was like, aerial fitness is for me. This is what I'm going to do. And I still didn't get results that I wanted. And like I said, I was a self-driven global gym. Didn't get the results. Personal training was what I wanted to do. So I Googled personal training in Sterling, and Monroe's gym came up. And
good SEO.
and there was a very specific thing that I was after. I knew that I didn't want somebody coming to my home and being like, do 50 push-ups. I knew I didn't want that. I knew that I needed. I also knew that I enjoyed weightlifting. The times that I have done it, I enjoyed it. I think it's really cool. So Monroe's gym and the description that I saw on the website seemed to fit that. So I sent him a message as it evolved, and he's like, come on in for your no sweat trial. Here we go. And then I walked in and I was like, oh my God, this is a CrossFit gym. And I had literally no idea what I was getting myself into. But I liked the message I was hearing from Monroe. I liked the things, the premise and the foundations that he stood on as far as what a fitness journey could look like and what could possibly happen. So I signed up. I think within the week we were doing origins, and I was in over my head. I had no idea what was going on. And so from there, it just kind of evolved. I think I was active for a couple months, and then I was starting to struggle. I was having some health problems, and my blood pressure was giving me a hard time. And it's like, when you feel like crap, you don't want to work out. You don't want to come in and do stuff. You just, so I stopped coming. And Monroe, out of the graciousness of his heart, reached out to me and was like, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Where are you at? And I was like, what do I say to my coach?
Yeah.
And no, the accountability was awesome.
Yeah, so that was actually a big, I think, turning point for me. And I'd always that was something that I never did. If people just stopped showing up, and I have some of this, I think, still now, where CrossFit's not easy, and it's if you don't put in a lot of attention and a lot of effort and a lot of you really want to be here, it's hard to come to a CrossFit gym and just kind of check the box. And a lot of people in health and fitness just want to check the box, especially when they're in a bad place, out of shape, and they're overweight and they're having health trouble. The last thing they want to do is really work hard on it. It's the opposite of what you want to do. So when I saw you struggling, I was getting business coaching at the time, and Dana Bridger from Gracie Baja, the jiu-jitsu school I was going to, I had kind of flaked out and stopped coming. And she called me one day and was like, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Talked to me for 5 minutes, and I showed up to class the next day. She was like, I haven't seen you in a while. And I was like, damn, that really worked on me. I should be doing that to my people. And so you were the first person that I called when they hadn't shown up in a few weeks. And I was totally expecting you to be like, you know what, it's just not going to work. Like, go ahead and cancel my membership or whatever. And then it was just like complete 180 from there. And it was so cool to like, when people start to actually like take hold of like, okay, I get it. Like this is effort that is good that I need to be putting in, and they really like dive in with CrossFit. That's when it's like, it's cool to watch that happen.
It's all worth it.
For sure.
Yeah. So when you took a break, like what was going on in your head, Cassie?
I'll be honest, like it was a lot of defeat. It was like, oh, there was another thing that didn't work to get fit again or to lose weight or whatever. It was just, it was defeat. It was overwhelming defeat. And it was like, I guess I better figure something else out now.
Yeah, I think the reason I asked you that question too is so many people feel that way.
Yeah.
All different types of people feel that way often, especially in regards to fitness and everything. And
I was looking at like,
valleys and highs of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like one thing that you said was like, you're like, you know, when you're out of shape, like, and you're not feeling good, it doesn't feel good to go to the gym. And like, I do think that there is if you're not into fitness at all, there's a significant amount of time that you need to spend just kind of grinding through it and grinding through the suckiness of it. And then there comes a point where it starts to be fun.
Yeah.
And where you're like, okay, now I like to push myself. I like to see improvement, and like you kind of get addicted to that improvement, and that's when going to the gym becomes fun, you know. But I think for a lot of people when they first start out, it's not a fun thing to go do. So
it's hard.
Especially the CrossFit methodology to it.
I was just going to say that too. No, that was exactly it. Is that CrossFit, I think, and I'll be the first to say it, I've been saying it since I walked in the door, I had a lot of preconceived notions about CrossFit and the athletes that do CrossFit. And never once did I see a 30-something mom, mother, wife, full-time work, whatever, come in and have a room for CrossFit in their life, ever. I never saw any of that coming, but like, I think that's what grabbed me the most is that like, it doesn't matter during any given workout, I can look to my left and see two of the buffest dudes in the gym and look to my right and somebody's on day 3 and everybody's just here for it and they're just in it together. And I've never once felt that I didn't belong or that I shouldn't be here. Like, I thought that to be a CrossFitter, you had to be a certain height, weight, shape, level of athlete to even walk in the door, and I could not have done more. And like I said, once we got the restart going, and I proved to myself, like, you deserve to be here just as much as Brandon or Monroe or XYZ person. Like, everybody deserves a spot at the rig to do what they have to do.
Yeah, we have a lot more moms, dads, adults that are just working through life who want to be healthier than we do super buff people, right? It's just
100%.
For true. All right, so you took a break. How did you change after Monroe contacted you?
Honestly, I hate letting people down. I hate that feeling of failure. And like when I knew that I was on Monroe, so when I knew that I was on Monroe's radar, everything just kind of clicked. And it was more like somebody else believing in me instead of having to. And I hate to like put that much pressure on you, but it was like to know that I can share that load with somebody else. That like it's not just me having to like motivate myself. Like there's somebody who genuinely cares about whether or not I show up. And I don't even remember how we got in. We started doing nutrition coaching, and that was 100% the game changer for me also, arguably more than CrossFit was the integrating all that nutrition. And,
for sure.
And I don't remember how we got into that, though. We just did. And I never looked back.
Yeah, it's interesting that you don't want to let me down, because I also like have that same... Like as a coach, you're in the same situation. Like you don't want to let the people down. And
well, we talked about that during COVID too. I mean, how many sessions did we do? We did FaceTime sessions, like literally lifting in my basement. Like I had like my little tripod set up, and he's trying to talk me through cleans virtually. It was
you were the only person that I did that
with.
Kidding? Oh. And like, there's a part with like where as a coach, it's like I can't want it more than you do.
Right.
And I deal with a lot of like, I think the hard part as a coach is when I care so much about someone trying to make progress and trying to improve, and then they can't help themselves. And it's like, dude, I can't go to your house and cook your food for you. I mean, I can, and like I'll do my best. Like I'll come to your house and bring a barbell, and we can try and work out to like get you some activity, and like, I'll do as much as I can. If you are trying to have that attention and you're working hard and you're like, dude, what can I do? I know you care, what can I do? So as a coach, it's rewarding to have someone that will actually do, what it takes. So it's cool.
You got into nutrition coaching. That obviously had a big impact on you. Did you start to come more after that? How often do you come? Maybe that's the question that we should go for.
So during COVID, it was 5 days a week. And when, everything was kind of shut down, I was here literally every day. There was a point that I got kind of shady there too. I think everybody kind of fell into a weird COVID funk that everyone's trying to figure out what their new norm is and what life is going to look like. But I hit a stride probably in April, May-ish of last year and never looked back. So, and through most of that, it was about 4 to 5 times a week. Work is starting to get busier now, so having to, find the tools and resources to make time for those priorities in my life has been a little bit of a challenge, but we're coming into it, and so.
Let's rewind just a little bit. What was the first memory, or maybe if you can even remember, what was the first workout that you did here at Verity?
So I can't remember. There is, and it's funny. So there's had conversations about this with a few different people, again of varying levels. And you walk into the gym and you see the whiteboard, and it's like this, 14 name workout, and you're like, I don't know what any of these.
It's
words
like speaking
mean.
a different language.
Holy crap, dude! So no, I have no idea what my workout was. I have no idea. I know that they all kind of seemed similar but different, and every day it was a new way of oh wow, that was difficult. But it was good. I don't know. I want to have an answer for you, but I
no,
don't.
that's perfectly okay. What was the first memory that you had here when you first started?
My first memory was trying to wrap my brain around a front squat.
Tell me more.
Really?
No, I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking right now. So.
No, I had a very similar experience with the front squat.
Yeah, and so Patrick, with the times that I was coming, Patrick was kind of the one that I would see the most often.
Sure.
And he's, you got to do, get your arms under and lift your chest up and do. I was like, dude, I'm just trying to squat a barbell, man. And he's all these extra cues and all this extra stuff, and I'm like, no, it does not make sense here. I'm trying to put this bar where, none of it made sense, literally none of it. And Patrick, he was so patient, took his time, and I think he saw again that want to understand what was going on. So he, was helpful as best he could, but the front squat was that really messed
What was your
with me.
problem with front squat?
So so my mobility right now, I'm going to say is it's better than most. It's not great for a CrossFitter, but before I came into CrossFit, my mobility was trash, man.
Too many bench presses?
Yeah, bench presses, pull-ups, never stretched ever. And so it was pretty much just, 11 years of running, just wrapped into this super tight ball. And when I tried to get a barbell onto my shoulders at first, I don't know if I could really do it, to be honest. And I remember I had a lot of wrist pain initially just because I couldn't get my shoulders into the correct position to be able to leverage the barbell.
Huh.
Well, and getting the right muscles to fire too. Anybody can do a back squat. I feel like anybody that's walked into can do a back squat, but it's a different set of recruitment of muscles, I feel
For sure, 100%.
I've never activated any of these muscles before.
And it's also mobility too.
For sure.
And then I think me and Pat were talking about this. There's a string, even with something simple like a squat or a deadlift. There is still skill that it takes to make that feel right every time and to be able to progress with it. So it's cool.
Absolutely.
So I want to talk about Scott.
Oh, dude.
So your husband he's coming here now.
Yep.
And that's
I dragged him in kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
I was like, you're doing this is the end of the conversation.
I remember you telling me about him, and you're like, look, he's given me he's told me everything that is not going to happen with him in CrossFit. And you were like, we have to do something. And I think it was around, it was when COVID time, when we were talking about it. You were he wants to get into it. He sees what I'm doing. He sees my progress. He wants to get into it, but XYZ. So how did you actually I guess.
How did we get from
Yeah. Because now he's awesome.
It was the way part. It was you're seeing the progress I'm making. Just all you have to do is show up. You already he had a similar thing. He likes lifting. He likes being active. And but again, it was a matter of trying to find the time and the commitment and everything. And I told him, I was like, all you have to do is show up, man. They do literally everything for you. Just show up, walk in the door. And like I said, played the wife card and said, this is what you're doing. And here he is, and how he's stringing together pull-ups and doing handstands and
doing awesome.
He took to it like fish and water.
So have you had like a I told you so moment?
No, it's more of like...
Because I have those with Morgan all the time.
Oh my gosh, no, it's more just like a high five.
Oh man, I forget that Morgan was like,
dude,
not
Morgan is hilarious because she will like, I will tell her something that she will like kick and scream about me about. And then like 2 months later, I'll catch her like telling someone, she's like, like sleep is like really important. Like you should really work on your mobility, and that'll really help that front squat.
Yeah,
I'm like,
my life is like the opposite. They're gonna tell me something that like I know I need to do. Like, hey Brandon, you should probably stretch more. Why don't you stretch while we're watching this thing on HBO Max or whatever it is? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And then I'll go and do it. And then she's just kind of like, yeah, significant others. They're good. They're great people. You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and it's been fun. I started private training with him, and it's been really cool to like see him, I guess, come out of his shell and like.
100%.
Because you're definitely more of like a want to talk to people,
butterfly.
want to say hi, and he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's awesome.
No, he's great. I'm like I was starting to say, it's just like it's just cool to have somebody like there with you and like somebody to talk about it with and to share the successes, and even just like that's why I was late, because he walked in from his noon workout as I was walking out to come here, and it was, how was the workout today? What did you do? How did it go? And like it's really cool to have like another layer of bonding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. No, and I mean I have that now with Morgan, which is cool. You know, it's like now she talks to me about workouts, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about that.
How long has Morgan been doing CrossFit now?
2 years, seriously.
That's it.
3 years, like kind of half-assed for the first year and a half.
Yeah. I just would have figured that you two would have met.
That's what I thought too. I was floored.
No.
Like when we first met and talking spouses, whatever, and I was floored that she wasn't a coach or involved in anything, and I was just, wait, what? Are you serious?
No.
And now to see her,
I
like,
mean,
it's just,
dude, CrossFit works, and like, I don't know, every person that I see make that, like, hey, never having worked out before, have all these issues to like taking off and running with it, and it's just, I don't know, the methodology works, and being around good, happy, healthy people works, you know. So.
And so there's a couple things that I want to highlight there. First of which is that this doesn't get said enough, is that CrossFit, you have everything built in. So literally and this is the hardest part, is just getting in your car and driving. Walking through the door, and then you're good. The weights are here. You get walked through it, you get coached, you get put in better positions. You get to work out with other people, which is huge, right? If for nothing else, it'll make you go faster, right? Whether you're at a Gold's Gym or you're here, right? And the second thing also is we have a shit ton of couples here.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
so many.
We really do.
So many.
If you guys are a listener and you guys want to share this, share with like some of your friends that are a couple. Like, very welcome here, and we have a ton of them. It's super fun to be able to work out with your significant other. Totally, I think, anyway.
Definitely.
For sure. And I mean, for me, I know I said this last podcast, but class is where it's at. Like,
Class is awesome.
Everything being built in, even once you know what you're doing and all this stuff, most of our coaches are in class. I was working out with you, it's just like, when I like, if I want to actually do a good job with my training and my workout and like, feel good afterwards, the class is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
So.
I totally agree. Cool. Cassie, walk us through nutrition. So you said that was a big thing and a transition for you. What were you doing prior?
Oh man.
And then what did you do to change, right? And I mean, like, I'll highlight myself here just so I don't throw you under the bus first, right? But like, I had nothing. I loved everything that was, sugar, pizza, just everything that could possibly, be terrible for you. And it started off as me just like, when did it finally click for me? I don't know. I grabbed something off of bodybuilding.com, and it was pretty much like chicken, sweet potato fries. That's where that began, right? But at least it was a start for me, and then obviously I learned a lot of stuff. Still did a lot of stuff wrong, and now currently I'm just doing kind of 2 meals a day. I'm doing intermittent fasting and just doing whole related foods as well. Yeah, it's a good life, right? So talk to me about what were you doing before, and then what did you do that made a huge impact on you that's clearly benefited you? Yeah,
so before, there's a couple pieces to this. I overcomplicated everything. Still
Nutrition's a bear.
As my nutrition coach is shaking his head like, yes, Cassie, you do. But even more so now than I used to do. everybody's looking for, let me share with the sugar-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, keto-friendly, da-da-da-da-da. You know what doesn't have gluten, sugar, da-da-da? A piece of salmon, some broccoli. Like, it's that
Real
simple.
food?
Holy moly, dude.
Yep.
The complications that I was putting in myself, and how, I felt like I had to, curate every single meal down to this thing and pre-plan. No, and the way that my shopping habits have changed from, I used to have this whole list of stuff, and I had to go in and I knew exactly what I was cooking and how I was going to cook it. And now I go to the store and I'm like, I really like chicken. Chicken looks good this week. Really like salmon. Gonna grab some salmon.
Yeah.
Probably should throw some red meat in there for my husband.
That does simplify it a lot. Yeah.
And the other part of it too is again, in the matter of complicating things, is that I didn't think that I could call it a healthy meal if I didn't peel all the Brussels sprouts myself and cut the ends off the green beans myself and cut the carrot, do the whole thing. I had to break everything down from its final form, and I wasn't taking enough advantage of all the stuff that exists today to get you in the right place. You walk into Wegmans and they've got a whole case full of pre-cut veggies, pre-cut fruits.
Cauliflower rice.
Yeah, I'm saying,
so
and
good.
So I spent a lot of time just getting my own way, complicating things a lot. And the other issue was work. I just you had a good day, let's go out and celebrate, let's have a couple beers. You had a bad day, let's go out and commiserate, have a couple beers.
Yeah.
The schedule is horrible. How many times did I text Monroe? I'm like, man, I got the mid shift, and the only way to stay awake over midnight for me was to eat. And so the schedule and my work had a ton to do with that. And so the transition kind of happened in learning these coping mechanisms and putting myself in these uncomfortable situations that it's I know that you're stressed out right now, what are we going to do? And how are we going to handle that? What are we going to do to fix it? And how are we going to retrain your brain, reprogram your brain, I guess, to see food in a different light? And every week we come in and we have, every 2 weeks, I guess, we come in and have a really good conversation about the things that went well, the things that didn't go well, and we adjust and move forward. And it's, like I said, just working with Monroe and talking through my shortcomings. And I mean, even so, we've got our Disney trip coming up, and we just sat on the couch Sunday, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, man. They've got cinnamon bugs, I'm big into your face, and I don't know how to handle this. And we came up with a plan and talked through it. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Coaching, one-on-one coaching. We offer it. We have it. Reach out to us.
Yeah, and
I think that podcaster guys.
I think that a lot of people think that nutrition is like workouts, where it's if I have the magic program, it'll work for me. And if I have the magic if I have the magic diet plan and the magic number of calories, then it'll work for me this time. And it's just really not the case. And it's really more the coaching, in my opinion. I don't think there's any value in a meal plan. Anybody that's watching this, if you want a meal plan, send me an email. Let me know how tall you are, what your age is, what you do for work, how much you work out, and I can make you a meal plan for free. The value is in the coaching and being able to say, okay, well, what happens when it's actually your turn to go and do that? And how do you get someone to not only cook healthy food, but not stress out about it and not make this big hoopla every week where it's no, I just want you to be able to live your life, eat clean food, have fun working out, enjoy yourself. And then when you and your husband go out to dinner, you should be able to go, what I say for Disney.
Oh, just don't buy anything for yourself, and that is my game plan.
Right.
I am in for it, and I'm super excited.
So it's
a good plan.
I don't want her to go to Disney and spend all this money and all this time with her family, and then be
come away from it
and be well, I spent my whole time in a gym and dieting and trying to not have as much fun in Disney as I can because I'm punishing myself for what I did 3 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting. So. Nutrition can get so there's so much information out there.
And I feel I don't know. All I was gonna say is for anybody listening out there, just don't overcomplicate it. I feel that if there's one, if I could sum it up in one sentence, the amount of effort that people put in to doing all these things, it doesn't have to be that hard.
It's consistency.
It really, exactly. It's consistency. It's consistent good food choices. 100%.
You're an intermittent faster.
I am.
I
just started.
That's a new thing.
Yeah, no, we just started that.
Let's dive in.
Yeah, dude. So this came about because, and Scott, my wonderful husband, love you. So I had a mental hang up about mealtime, right? It's 12 o'clock. I have to eat. It's 7 o'clock, I have to eat. And I like could not let go of this idea. So Scott's like, skip a meal. What, are you nuts? No, I cannot skip lunch. That is absurd. And we kind of morphed it and evolved it. And the other issue that I was having is breakfast. I hate breakfast. I'm not a morning person. I don't like cooking. Eggs are not my favorite. So that would tend for me to lean towards carbolicious meals, muffins, croissants, waffles.
Best meal of the day.
Yogurt. Yeah, exactly. And what I
hate that.
dude, oh my, yeah, no. And so like what I found,
Don't want to get off on a rant here.
and so what I found is that like when I was starting my days out with something specifically carby or sugary, the rest of my day was crap. I was craving crap foods all day. I couldn't let go of it. It just wasn't working. So I was like, well, if I'm supposed to skip a meal and I hate breakfast, I'm just going to skip breakfast. And then nothing bad happened.
So
and then I started losing weight again. And
you didn't read anything about intermittent fasting. This was Scott, smart guy Scott, who was just like, hey, why don't you just skip something, yeah?
Yeah. No, he was like, just try it.
That's
Just see what
amazing.
happens. Put yourself in a weird spot and see what happens.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it through a lifting program called Kino Body, which I think
Seriously.
dude. So that guy makes. So hang on. Let me defend Greg here a little bit, because Greg changed my life, and he's done a lot of good for a lot of people, and he does some stuff that I really like. His videos and stuff, like he does some interesting stuff, right? As far as like form and everything goes on, lifting and everything, like again, not that great, but like the nutrition aspect of like his programming, I think is very brilliant. Is very simple. Has a cookbook where he comes up. It does a lot of intermittent fasting, right? So that's where I discovered it, and it was a big discovery for me, right? So Kino Body aside, let's talk about culture a little bit, just because like in America, like you were talking about meal timings, like 7 a.m. is breakfast, 12 p.m. is lunch, and like I don't even know where that came from.
Who are these people with these rules?
I don't know.
I don't agree.
I don't know, right? So I mean, when we start talking about, if we want to talk about like weight loss, right? You do want to, I would say, eat less frequently. Just like stop eating shit, right? I mean, it really can kind of be that simple as far as that goes. But fasting is a great thing to be able to do in order to supplement all that
Well,
stuff.
and I think what surprised me the most, and I'm sure that the two of you could probably speak more about it, was I stumbled upon it on accident and then kind of went and did some more research afterwards. But the benefits of it alone are, I mean, for me, it's like an anti-inflammatory property, but like there's...
It lowers your blood pressure. Like
Yes.
you were talking about that earlier, right?
Yep.
Insulin.
Yep.
Yeah. You got a thought over there?
My thought is that there is nothing magical about intermittent fasting.
Okay.
And although Cassie loves it, that's what works for her. And if I am as a coach saying, hey, you got to have 3 square meals a day, that's the only way this is going to work, then I'm doing her a disservice and finding what's going to work for her.
Yeah. Agreed.
So just because I love breakfast and that works for me perfectly, at the end of the day, the scientific part of it is you just need to cut a little bit of calories out, and then your body will start losing weight again. And what's the easiest way to do that? It's not, hey, let me make you a meal plan that says 100 less calories on it. It's how do we make your life work so that you can have a little bit less food or a little bit more activity, and you'll go through those, like as you're cutting, you'll go through those plateaus where you're like, okay, this is what got me to here, and then you'll eke out every last pound of weight loss from that level, and then you're either going to have to add more cardio or decrease the calories a little bit more, and when we get there, we'll figure that
Cross
out.
that bridge then.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I love it as a way to manipulate your caloric intake without without thinking about, oh, well, I should have 170 grams instead of 190 grams of carbs or whatever. So I'm all for it from that aspect. I just don't personally do it, but
Yeah, everybody's different as far as that
Everybody's
goes, right?
No,
You just
it
got to
was-
kind of find whatever's going to be good for you.
No, it was, I mean, for me, it was an easy way to knock out a calorie deficit, and
For sure.
everything else kind of fell into place. So
Yeah, makes it a lot more manageable.
Yeah, 100%.
Love it. All right, so we got nutrition in order. What are you trying to accomplish now?
oh my gosh, poor Monroe. I have the biggest grandiose plans of all of these things. No, I'm serious, because
Sounds like he gets to be part of an episode.
I know, I'm stoked.
Because I always come out and I'm like, I'm going to do this, and this, and I have 1,000 plans and 1,000 goals. My big goal right now, I am closing in on a very big milestone weight loss. I'm 3 pounds away. Disney notwithstanding. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's a weight I haven't actually seen since college, so that will be
That's awesome, Cassie.
huge. It'll put me at a 35-pound total weight loss so far.
It's amazing. Good for you.
We're so close. So that's where I'm at, like 100% right now. But in the meantime, we're working on pull-ups. We're working on kipping pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups. We during the Verity Christmas challenge. We did rope climbs. That was a good one. I got my first rope climb, and
it's a big moment.
Yeah. So all those little things. But I just say poor Monroe because I always come at him like, I'm gonna work on this now, and he's like, well, what about all these other things?
This is his job.
Yeah.
You know what else is he gonna do throughout the day?
Well, I think it's cool. Like there's something to be said for, like I said, a coach that you can come to him and say, you know what, Monroe, this is my list of things I want to accomplish, and to have somebody point you in that direction, show you how to get there, and be along for the ride and celebrate with you when you do. So
I'm just fortunate that you listen to me.
Cool. All right, let's talk more about Cassie. So Cassie, we got a lot of goals and everything that's going to be coming in here for 2021. What advice would you go back if you could go back in time and give yourself when you were first starting?
Oh goodness.
Yes. What would you tell yourself?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. So many things. Just don't give up. Just take just a word of my own advice and just keep showing up, and the rest is going to work itself out. Know that you're going to have good days and bad days, and some days are going to be way easier and some days aren't. And just don't ever stop trying, I guess. I don't know. I hate to sound like a Hallmark card, but it's true.
It's life,
you got
I don't know. Go ahead, dude.
Not coming and not showing up is not going to get you to your goal.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're not going to come here, figure something else out. That's what I told my wife, I'm like, she was like, you just want me to be a CrossFitter. You just want to be one of those CrossFit girls. I'm like, nope. No, I just want you to be healthy. Like, if you're a runner girl, or you're a yoga girl, and you're a swimmer girl, or whatever you are, like, I just want you to be active and healthy. And like, I was like, hey, you'd probably have, get some endorphins. You probably feel better about yourself. The other day, she's like, telling her friend, she's like, you just need to start exercising. It'll give you endorphins, and you'll like feel better about you. I'm like,
I love Morgan. She's so great.
But
it is fantastic to listen to.
Are we on closing thoughts?
We're gonna get there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're about there. We can definitely do that. Cassie, I guess the last question that I wanted to ask you, are you a reader by chance?
I am a reader.
Okay, cool. I thought you were.
I am, yeah.
What's your favorite book that you've read most recently?
So I am actually working my way through Atomic Habits right now.
Yeah, okay.
Slowly but surely.
That's the one we suggested.
Chapter by chapter, and it was from the podcast.
Yeah.
I've got a backlog of goal-setting books from that, but no, specifically Atomic Habits, and it's really nice. It plays into so well of what we talk about with all of my nutrition coaching, and then even as I start, I'd like to think that there's going to be a point that I can take some effort away from my nutrition and put that back into the gym. And I'd like to think that those habits are going to translate over to, getting into fitness goals. And, I hear it's cool. I hear you guys talking, I got to squat 3, gajillion million pounds.
405.
405. And I think no, I'm not even
that was me.
No, so one of you guys is a 3 something. Anyways.
I don't know. I hit a pretty good back squat yesterday, though. That was exciting. Anyway, more about you.
So at any rate, so I'd like to think that eventually I can take those same concepts and apply that to getting, various goals in the gym and stuff. But no, I think Atomic Habits is, like I said, it just resonates so much with so much of what I'm working on right now. So
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Go show.
Closing thoughts. Mr. Miller, you want to go first?
You want to know what book I'm reading?
I do actually want to know.
I do too.
Yeah, go ahead. What you reading?
I'm reading a book called The Third Door.
What is The Third Door? What have you learned?
So I just started reading it. It was just something I saw suggested. But it's basically about how successful people, there's 3 ways into a nightclub. One is like the VIP entrance where you had everything given to you and you just kind of walk in the door. The other is like the front door through a long line of people, and there's a third door. And so there's always it's basically saying every exceptional person has taken a third door somewhere where they've life has told them no, and they've figured out a way around it. And so it's just that kind of concept and being successful and finding a way through it. But yeah, closing thoughts. Never give up, never surrender. As long as you don't give up, you can keep progressing. That's what, back to jiu-jitsu, that's what they said. A black belt is just a white belt that never gave up.
Yeah.
So
That's a good saying. Cassie, closing thoughts for the audience or for anybody else who's listening to this. And there's a lot of people in that contemplation stage where they're like, I know I need to go in the gym, but I'm scared ultimately is really what it is. What would you say to them?
The only thing I would say is the same thing that I said during the video that we did a couple months ago. Just dive right in. Like, don't be scared. It's intimidating and it's overwhelming, and there's a ton of acronyms and names and exercises and all these things. Just show up. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't be scared. Just show up, and the coaches are going to take care of you, I promise. And everything else will just work itself out.
Awesome. Closing thoughts for me. It is going to be 83 degrees today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Go outside. Get some vitamin D. If you haven't been on a walk with your significant other, take them on a walk. Leave your phone at home, right? Get into their life. What are they doing? Take your dog if you want to. Get outside and just enjoy the sun and being with people. That's what I'm going to say today. Just having my beautiful view looking at the trees right now. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcast, we'd appreciate a 5-star review from you guys. And as always, thanks for listening to us. You guys are listening to the Full Send Podcast. Cassie, thanks so much.
Thank you.